G'day punters, welcome back to the MacBet Early Move. This week we're previewing the George Moore Stakes. I'm your host James, and joining me is pro punter John Mcleod. Welcome, John. First up, let's talk to last week, Soxagon and Jaden. Tom, I was a little bit nervous. You might have seen on the video as well. They're two horses I'm just getting nervous about, and looks like the nerves were justified. They both sort of stunk it up deluxe. What's happened there?
Well, one went good and one went bad. Soxagon just went terrible.
Sure.
You know, I thought he would have been a lot closer than what he was. He finished up with the Rovian. He finished up exactly the same spot as him. Which is unbelievable. I thought he'd be at least 3 to 4 lengths in front of him, and he was actually, the other one was in front of Soxagon. So it was just a painful watch, really. You know, he came out, he got pushed wide, he ran into it okay, but geez, the last little bit, he was very disappointing. He doesn't, you know, it's the first time I've actually seen him in the yard, and he's nothing to write home about. He's not not a horse that you'd sort of rush in, you know, to back. So he looked okay, but I was expecting a lot better horse, or better looking horse, that's for sure.
For sure, and we got the price on both of them early. They were, you know, sort of $7 and $4.60 early, and it's one of the few times I've sort of bet on a Thursday. I normally wait till Saturday, and they rocketed in, and I was sort of quietly confident all day that I could sort of hang my hat on these two. And yeah, it's just tough. You with the market, you smash the market, and it just still doesn't come off.
Yeah, especially the last one, Jaden Tom. It sort of just come right into about 250 at one stage. It got out to about 280, I think, at the death, but. You know, even he didn't do too much wrong. He sort of pushed him out of the gates early, but something that we thought would cross onto the fence, I just can't remember the name of the horse, but it didn't cross onto the fence, and he stayed too wide, so he had to ease and go back a bit. So he was finished up about two pairs back further than I thought he would be, and you know, he's ran on quite well. But it was sort of like a day. It was a really interesting day as far as, you know, to work out how the track was playing, because usually Doomben plays fairly on pace. You know, it is on pace, but what it was a really strong headwind down the back straight. So if they worked into the wind, you know, the back markers were just steaming home. But if they didn't work too much and they got a fairly easy lead, well, then the wind blew them home down the straight, and so it was it just really all depended on how hard they had to work into the wind. You know, there was one race there, Baller, that we really liked, as it turned out. You know, just because of the way the track was playing, and with the audio, I pushed pretty strongly into it. I thought it was really a good thing, and the speed come out of the race. You know, everyone sort of decided to not push into the wind, and they grabbed hold, and the leader got away with easy sectionals, and then Baller just chased hard the last little bit. He got held up coming to the corner, and he couldn't go because something else was on the outside of him. But I think if he was able to move just before the corner, he still would have won, even though the sectionals were against him. So it was just one of those days, you know. Either we got the odds and just was eating the paint off the walls, or eating the tickets, or
can't eat overs, can we?
No, you can't eat it. You can't eat it. So, but you know, we feel like we're on the right horses. We're just going to need a little bit of luck to go our way. You know, that's the key.
For sure. And time's shown that if you can beat the market, you know, you should come out on top. You just need to be patient and just keep sort of chipping away. I'm sure you already know that.
You can. It's sort of like a little bit of a fallacy. You know, I hate talking about, oh, geez, I beat the market, because if you don't end up with the cash, it's no good. You know, so it's sort of, you know, at the end of the day, you've just got to back winners, and no matter, you know, it's just working out that bias part was a huge play on Saturday, and even though the market came with us, you know, by the time that the races came around, like even Jaden Tom, I thought with the, you know, working into the wind, Jaden Tom was going to be the perfect horse, but as it turned out, they let the leader just cross easy. He sat up on it and then sprinted home, and it was just all over. So excuses, but there was legitimate excuses.
There are some excuses, but it's really interesting stuff about the wind there, and listening to the bias updates are great on the audio. Anyone who subscribes monthly or weekly or annually even will receive all the audio updates. We're making sure all subscribers get that now, which is excellent. With your figures out of that race day, what does that do? Are you confident in these horses next start? Because you know what happened that day? Does that actually create some opportunities maybe?
It does and it doesn't. You know, a lot of our stuff is based on maps and the sectionals and everything. And so the sectionals, we have to adjust them somehow to make what actually happened on the day correct as far as how it handles our ratings with those particular horses. But if we get them wrong, well, then it makes it even harder. So it's a lot harder. And I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people just put a line through that complete day, which is hard to do. You know, it is hard to do. The form is there and it's there. You know, it's like this race tomorrow with Jonker. Like that, the same wind was with Jonker the other day, and that's why it ran a track record. So you know, it just had it fairly easy in front or okay, but the wind was just blowing it along, and they ran unbelievable times just because of the wind. Same thing, same wind as Jonker's day as it was last week. So those 2 days are very, very tricky form days. So you just got to play it very smart out of those 2 days. So if you get it right, you're going to be in the game, because a lot of people are going to be just playing it by just figures and what they did, and not thinking, you know, that this sectional wasn't as good as what it was because the wind was up there fast.
On paper. Well, that does lead in well to Doomben this weekend. The rails in the 1 metre position. Track rating is currently a soft 5. How do you think it's going to play?
Well, just you know, I can't believe there's going to be as strong a wind as what it was those last 2 meetings. So I think, you know, it'll be back to the normal Doomben, where we're not expecting, you know, that much rain. Even on Saturday, it's fine. Tomorrow's a little bit overcast, but I don't think they're expecting too much rain. So, you know, if there's no wind, it'll be, and the track really dries out into that good 3 range, well, the leaders will just win. So it's just a matter of, you know, what happens with the wind. I haven't checked that yet because it's too far out. I can hardly trust them with the rain, let alone the wind.
No, I don't think anyone can trust them. And I love the way that Twitter just turns into the bomb in the days leading up to a race day. Everyone's got an opinion on the rain and what's going to happen, which is quite good. But the feature race on Saturday is the Tab George Moore Stakes over the 1,200 metres. Last year, won by I'm a Ripper. You touched on Jonker before. It was one of the great stings last start, well backed, and it bolted in, and it's a 270 favourite today. You sort of said that the wind was sort of on its side there.
Definitely, it was on its side, but you know, it did win easy and it broke a track record. And you know, even if it didn't run, you know, if it run 4 lengths slower, you know, take the wind out of it, well, you know, it's still going pretty good. So it's just a matter of how much pressure the Odyssey applies here. You know, the Odyssey, I think, has got more speed than Jonker. Jonker takes a few strides to get going, but then he gets up on the bit. So it's a matter of whether the Odyssey tries to just cross quickly, and then if he crosses quick, well, then the Jonker might sort of start to pull a bit or really want to drive through. So there could be, you know, some solid speed on here. You know, Deep Image has got the good gate or push forward, Mashani Hustler, and Usmanot's going to have to do something from the wide gate. So I'm expecting speed on, which is going to suit a horse like Hard Empire, which went really good the other day in Jonker's race. And you know, just as long, I'd love the wind to come for this horse. Because if the wind's into their face down the back, they're going to work. You know, they're going to work hard into it, and then the back markers are going to just come, and that's going to be Hard Empire. But if there's no wind, the track dries right out. Is Hard Empire going to give him too much start? Because he's probably going to finish up midfield, maybe a touch worse, because he's got Spurcraft and Baccarat Baby will probably take up the position where he wants to be. So he might have to go back a pair further back, and whether he can give you know, horses like Jonker and Deep Image and those type of horses, the Odyssey, 6-length start, that's the question mark on a leader's track. So it's a very interesting race, and it's all got to do with how this track's playing and what actually happens with the weather.
Yeah, it's been really good. These feature races have been very entertaining. A lot of opinions around as well. Just for some context, Hard Empire from the Edmonds camp is $6.50. He's got Stewart on board. It ran fourth to Jonker last start, but you're sort of saying, yeah, the win was with Jonker a bit there. The Odyssey's $8.50. It's had to freshen up after a second placing in October. Outside of those sort of ones in the market, is there anything you like at value?
Scalapini didn't go too bad the other day in a similar race to what Hard Empire, in the same race as Hard Empire and Jonker. Yeah. Scalapini's got it drawn off the track a little bit. He's outside of Hard Empire, so I can't see him beating Hard Empire, but I can see him running into the place again if it's not as leaderish as what I'm thinking. So, he's definitely got a hope. Scalapini, he goes all right. 1200's his go. 1400 he can't get. He sort of looms up to win, and he just wants to dig the heels in, sort of thing. So, 1200 with speed on, it's the nice sort of race. I don't know about Outback Barbie. I think
a love affair with this horse for sure.
Yeah, the market has got him. I think he's got her right around the $15 mark. I think that's her price. She's got a tricky gate. She's going to want all the speed to go on to attack the line, which it's possible. Even Deep Image went good the other day. It worked 3 wide in Jonker's race, but again, the wind was blowing him along, and so he might have got there a little bit easier than what you actually see with your eyes. You're looking at it and saying, geez, you had to work through a track record time and all that sort of stuff. But the first part was probably not as strong as what you think. So this is such a good race that
it's a cracking race. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many horses here, or so many opinions that people are going to go one way or the other, and well, my little advantage was the win, but I'm sure everyone will know that there was big win that day, and that was the reason why they went such good time. So,
especially once the video goes out. So for as far as betting goes, you'd say Jonker's unders, and top pick would be Hard Empire. Would you say?
Yeah, Hard Empire would be top pick for sure, and I would probably go. Then
how do you bet?
Jonker. Hey,
how would you bet it? Do you lay Jonker at 270, or it probably would get out anyway, wouldn't it?
I don't want to lay horses up on the pace, just because if the pace comes out of the race, well, then all of a sudden it's a big change, and then you've got a horse giving them 6-length start that you're trusting, putting your faith in. So I don't mind laying horses at a midfield back, those prices, just because everything's got to go right for them, anyway. The pace is, even if the pace goes on a bit, still horses sitting 4th too wide could ping away from them and hold them off. So it's always a real pain to actually back those or lay those horses in the first 3, because you've really got to be confident that the speed is going to be right on and against them. So, I'm sitting on the fence with Jonker as far as laying it goes, but and also with Hard Empire, like I know it was $9 yesterday. I couldn't actually rush in and back it, even though I've got it a lot shorter than that, just because I want to know how the track's playing. Because why do you can't back Hard Empire, given Jonker 6-length start on a leader's track. You just can't. Yep. So you've got to wait.
If the speed doesn't go on, your ticket's confetti.
That's right. You just throw them in the air and just you get beating the paint off the walls again. So
we don't want that. We don't want that.
It leaves a sour taste in your mouth. That paint, it's sort of it's not good at all. So
I'm still tasting it from Saturday, to be honest. I was absolutely on the floor. Anyway.
Saturday was painful. I didn't do too much harm. I sort of got out of trouble a little bit, and Sunday was. But the the last race yesterday hurt me with what was it called? The thing Robbie Fradd was on. He loomed up to win for sure and certain. I think it was about 440 into about 310. Just and something else just kicked back on the inside of him and knocked him off. So that was a big go for me yesterday. So, but anyway.
Anyway, we saw a little turnaround at Sha Tin on the weekend as well, picking up 18 units. You said you made a couple of changes. So I think Happy Valley was a little bit unlucky last night, but things seem to be going in the right direction there. We're posting up results weekly on our Twitter. So we'll have that out later, sort of Thursday or Friday. But we'll get all the figures there for the week straight up there, which is really good to do.
Funny how the Hong Kong each week, like we found something else last night again. It's just a great thing when you're doing the form and everything. And people who are out there, if they're not looking over what they've done and how things were affected, you just keep on making the same mistakes. And so you've got to keep on going over things, checking things, and seeing if you can improve them. And we found something again last night that we've probably been overcooking, and so we haven't overcooked it. We actually we were not giving them enough actually. So it's just an interesting game, this one. It's sort of you never stop learning, that's for sure.
You've said that in the past a couple of times, and I think you said that on the Betfair interview as well. It's your favourite part is just the forever evolving and changing. It's never the same.
It is. It's just getting on the right path. You just don't want to go down a path where you're changing, but you're changing for the worse. That's the problem. You've got to be able to just come back to an area where you're comfortable with, but veer out, see whether it's going the right way. If it's not, come back to that first way, try another path until you can get to another area where you're going good.
When no one else is there.
Well, that's the question. That's the query. You might be just catching up with some other people that had already got there, but then other times you might get there first, and you might have about a 6-month, 12-month head start on everyone, and then everyone gets there as well. So it's just a thing that you can't stop.
I could never ever do what you do. So I'm glad you're doing it, because it sounds like a nightmare.
I enjoy that part. The hardest part I find is the actual putting it into play. As far as the betting side of things, you can get affected by people coming up and telling you things and things you just don't want to hear, and then all of a sudden you go away from things. You just that's one thing I've found just going back to the races. You actually told a bit too. There's too much noise.
Trainer says it'll win, or it's been great in track work, or the jockey's tipping it. I don't know how that just throws all your numbers out if you listen to everything you're told.
Well, that's right. And sometimes you just sort of you think, I'm not going to listen to that, but in the back of your head,
you heard it. You can't unhear it. It's there.
Yeah, it's there, and you start to backpedal on some horses that you like, and you go forward on others, and it's just it's one of those things you just got to it's a clear button. You got to push it. Have a button that you just hit clear. Focus.
Try and manage it. It's too good. Well, thanks for your time, John. Thanks everyone for listening. Be sure to give us a like, share, and a comment if you like what you see. Visit our website. You can get notified as soon as this video is available each week, because we'll sort of post it up a bit later. So we'll get the YouTube link out early, and then we'll get up on social media after that. But yeah, head to macbet.com.au if you're interested in following the service or joining up, and feel free to sort of swing us a message if you have any questions. That's enough plug. I'll let you go, John. Good luck everyone this weekend.
Beauty. Thanks, James.
Cheers.
See ya.